Never. And we can be seated if we would like. I would like the first part of the investiture. This part of the ceremony honors the ancestors and represents the Negredo aspect of the ceremony, the releasing of the old to make way for the new. Now, in the Correllian tradition, we always carry our past with us. So releasing might not be quite the word for it. But at this time, we honor those who have gone before. Under more traditional circumstances, we would be wearing mourning robes for the member or members of the first priesthood who have died recently. However, as we are not dead, we are not doing that physically. Rather, we're going to honor the memory of all of our past first priesthood and all of our ancestors. In the Correllian tradition, we think of ourselves as being one circle, both those who are incarnate and those who come. Those who are physically living members of the spirit of the tradition and who are spiritually living members of the tradition, working together, hand in hand on an ongoing basis. Death does not remove you from this tradition if you wish to remain involved. It is a multi-incarnational journey. This is part of the nature of the ceremony you'll be taking part in the next several hours. Part of what is going to happen is the new first priesthood will be energetically joined to all of the existing first priesthood in spirit. Now, to some extent, that's already well enough, but it's going to be even stronger after the ceremony. In this tradition, we talk to those who are not physically with us all the time, and they talk back. It's part of what makes us what we are. When we accept a role like first priesthood, we have it for a long time. We have it in this life and into the next one. As I said, normally this part of the ceremony would be to honor the new ancestor who had a year ago. But again, that is not quite what happened. So we're going to honor them all. And we're also going to honor the nature of our relationship to the ancestors. And we're going to give everyone a moment to speak if they wish to about their relationship with the ancestors. And I would like to ask our first elder to begin.
I heard God speak really clearly. And we were having a conversation, when I say we, it's Phoenix and I, about what if they don't agree on something? How do we determine what's going to happen? So I thought about it a little bit, and I'm like, all right, well, we're going to have to just pick a side. Well, no, you're going to put penises and vulvas in a hat, and they're going to pick. Whichever. And it had to be a specific number. Shake it up and pick 10. And whoever it was, no matter what was the decision we were going with. So this is something that the ancestors did. And Lady Wendy has been very active from day 2.
Yeah.
Like literally day 2 of passing. She's come to so many people, even people that haven't known her. So just because you don't know the ancestor, they're there for you. They are going to connect with you if you allow yourself to connect with them. And if you keep yourself open to messages, you'll be counting bullets and penises. Anybody else have anything they would like to say? Anyone?
So I've been on the energy path for almost a year now. And I talked to Lady Elizabeth a lot. Lady Wendy, and how she gets involved in the initiation. What the initiation. Every day now.
When I met my Correllian family was 2006 at the illustration in book, Ohio. And obviously spoke about this before. When I walked into circle of initiation, I had a very surreal experience of feeling as though people were circling me. So the point where I could feel my robe move. And I heard with my physical ears, welcome, welcome back, welcome home, we love you, blessed be, welcome. Just spoken by female voices circling me. And it was such a touching experience that I cried standing there. And this was right as I was waiting, before I even entered the circle, before anybody asked me a question, anything. It was right when I walked in. And thought how beautiful it was after it was done. And in my head, I thought this was happening. There were priestesses doing it. I was one of 5 that got initiated, and I was the first one to walk in, maybe the second. As I was standing there, I waited to hear it again. And I was waiting for them to do it to the next person, because it had been so beautiful, and it didn't happen. And I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it, and it never happened again. And I asked about it after. I asked Lord Don, if that had, was a regular part of the ritual, because they hadn't done it to anybody but me. And he had no idea what I was talking about, because it had been a spiritual experience that was being. At the end of my second degree initiation, Lady Bitterwood, beloved Lady Bitterwood, who I had never met before, and I don't believe that I believe isolation before she had arrived, so I didn't even get a chance to meet her for the end of my initiation. And everyone was congratulating me, and she walked up to me and gave me the biggest hug and whispered in my ear, "Welcome home. Welcome back." It was such an echo, that first experience. And as an ancestor, Lori said, Lady Bitterwood is so active. All of the ancestors, from that moment, I just felt so connected to them. And it can be a very surreal experience, because things like that happen. Where another example, when I was going to do Lady Mindy's funeral service, I was the closest, highest ranked clergy. I offered to drive out. It was a 3.5-hour drive to near Boston for me to do her funeral. I got in my car. I started driving. I kid you not, every single song that came on my radio in that 3.5-hour drive was about death and love and loved ones moving on and family, and it's endless. And I think I cried for family. And the Correllian ancestors are so present in our lives that it's such a blessing, it's such a gift that we are all so connected. And I know that it's when it's my time, I will bother each and every one of you if I go. Because it's just how it is. And you know, Lady Wendy, usually it takes more time, but she from moment one continued her work. And that was how she was. That is Lady Wendy to a T. She would work, she would sit at her desk and do her work, and I was not in any way surprised that she died and then she got up the next morning and said, okay, back to work. Stuff's gotta get done. And I picture her in the temple of the ancestors, just sitting there with her little desk, computer. Yeah. The ancestors are present, and they're here for each and every one of us to form a relationship with.
Does anyone else wish to say anything?
Eric?
I've never had a connection with the ancestor or a moment. And I feel a gentleman's presence on my shoulder. And I don't know his name, but I feel him pushing me away. Because I'm in a situation where there's fewer days ahead than there are behind. Thinking about my journey to the ancestors, and that I will be welcome. And all of you will be welcome. And I think that's a really beautiful message for me to hear right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
We all can't be Correllians that have been Correllian for 20 years. We all come in brand new first day Correllians. So, and we all of us emphasize when we talk to new family, how we're family. We're all family. But distance and difference, so the connection, stronger bonds when we get together. But the one thing I liked about the Correllian ancestors from day one, just walking in off the website, that the ancestors came to me and to other people from day one and treated us like family, which is then what creates the bonds that we all get. So we may have that are able to come together, have stronger bonds because our closeness doesn't, but that doesn't, distance and not being able to go to events doesn't create less bonds. Lots of ways to get those bonds in, and our Correllian ancestors are the glue that holds the family together and creates those bonds. So I'm just very appreciative, Lord Don, for you opening your family, you and your family, to us, because I don't actually know where I'd be without.
Recently I've had to deal with a little bit of reincarnation with my puppy. But all of you here have been part of this family not just this lifetime, but previous ones. You are coming home. This has been your family now and in the past. You might be your part reincarnated without one of the ancestors. I mean, there's a very strong possibility. I mean, distant cousins or whatever else. So, and to your higher selves, you still welcome home.
Welcome home, everyone. 45 years ago, time. Lady Crystal and I took part in a dinner like this one at the beginning of our own investiture. And I will tell you, the ancestors did predict what was going to happen with this tradition, which doesn't mean that we could exactly envision it, but they did warn us it would be around the world. They warned us of the complexity we would face in coming years. And I know that Phoenix and Alyssa know it's only going to be more complex in the future. But it is a wonderful experience. In these 45 years, I have dealt with so many people. Some were a delight, some were a lesson, but all were experiences that I would not trade. You will have many experiences. You've already had a few. There are more. But I think you'll agree with me that it's well worth it. It occurred to me earlier that not only are most of the members of this tradition who were part of that dinner 45 years ago no longer living in the flesh, but are among the ancestors, but there's scarcely anyone who would be able to personally remember having met them in the flesh who's still alive either. Most everyone who was part of this tradition, everyone who was part of the Clear Temple, who was part of the Dancers of Shakti, who would remember my mother or Lady Gloria? They've all gone on to the ancestors except for Crystal and myself. It was a bit of a shock when Lady Bitterwood transitioned on the 40th anniversary. And years from now, you may be looking back on this event and all the people who are no longer physically there, who are here tonight. But the thing is, they are still there. And all of those members of the tradition are among the ancestors, and they are here tonight. And we're going to honor them with offerings and by invoking their presence in a few moments. Our tradition has had three first priests before: William I, Franklin, and William II. We have had three first priestesses before Lady Crystal: Caroline herself, who founded the tradition, Mabel, and my mother. We also, of course, have Lady Crystal and myself, who are not yet among the ancestors, but maybe have one foot there. Tonight, we want to honor those first priesthood who are among the ancestors, and also our former first elders who are among the ancestors: Lady Gloria, Lady Bitterwind, Lady Windy, and all of our ancestors. And so I ask you now to join me. Beloved ancestors, you who have gone before, we invoke you this night. We know you're already here, but we formally welcome you to this dinner being held in your honor. Beloved ones, we ask you, join us and to partake with us in us, our thanks and our love and our offerings. We bid you hail and welcome.
Hello and welcome.
So please come forward and make the offerings to the ancestors.
Lord, ancestors, we come before you with offerings of flour and tobacco and our love. We ask that you join us, guide us, be with us as you are now and all time. Every time I see a Correllian, I see you. Hail to the beloved ancestors, hail to the beloved first priesthood, hail to the titles, hail to the Correllian tradition. I love this service.
Sacred beloved ancestors, we offer you fire and incense. Make some offering to spirits. Unto you, almighty ancestors, we call upon you to accept these offerings that we make unto you from our hearts, in a token of appreciation and commitment to the work that we must do together. As a token of commitment to the work that we're going to do in this life and the lives that we will lead hereafter. We pray that you accept these offerings as a commitment to your family and your lineage, trusting us with the work that you have started, trusting us to move it forward and share it with the world the way that you intend, in fidelity with your world most sacred and beloved ancestors who pledge us with these offerings. So
might be.
For you. Let us join. We've invoked the ancestors all together, but now we specifically want to invoke the spirit of the first priesthood. Not only the people who fulfilled the role, but the office itself, which is its own thing, as you already. Behold, we do invoke you, spirit of the first priesthood. We ask you to be present with us now and to move through these who are joining you throughout this ceremony. And to attach yourself to their hearts. All of us who have been first priesthood stand together as part of the spirit of the first priesthood. And through this ceremony you shall do. With the hall. May the blessing be upon the spirit of the first priesthood and may it be upon me. So voted. Now. A few words about what's going to happen next. There will presently be an oracle of the ancestors, but these will be the last words spoken during this evening. Once the oracle, the rest of us will remain silent until the new first priesthood have left us for the evening. They are entering an overnight vigil and will remain silent until morning, speaking only with the ancestors. We have an ancestral feast prepared. We will consume it in silence. Please do honor the silence and do not speak. But think of yourself as you are, with one foot in the land of spirit and one foot in the land of the living. For we are between these states at this time, having joined with those we have invoked. There is a menu of all the dishes in the feast over by the buffet. So if anyone has any questions about what is there, the answer is written for you. So you don't have to ask any. Do we have any questions before we move on?
Who will instruct us that the silence is lifted?
The silence will be lifted when the first elder takes the new first priesthood out of the hall to begin their vigil. Then the rest of us can talk again, but they cannot.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions?
Are we able to have them before they leave?
Absolutely. Well,
How did I get access if we want husband now?
Jay, before I can talk, do you know where the family god is? I need to know that before you can talk.
No, that's perfect. You need to know where something is before we get talk.
what is it that you need to know?
I need the fabric, to make a regular non-patches, the fabric product.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
We'll work something out.
Yeah, I
Y'all heard that paper over there? Like the spoilers to the left, so that 97. So,
Also, hi, thank you for pointing out in front of our entire family.
Scream.
No sense. After Investiture.
What again?
Get up.
This
Access.
You were not. Hey, or I can't talk. Situation.
Joanne's is 2 miles.
Someone,
I will need a. No.
If you just clarify that you're not accepting any text messages too.
yes, they should not be getting things.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Unless you were, no, you were an answer.
Or wish to become one.
Right.
Yeah.
If y'all heard of this here, someone that you send after you will kill you.
Remember, someone spoke at a previous silent supper, and almost everybody got my clue. That's true.
It is true. So, once the oracle comes through, no more talking. If you need something, pen and paper.
Graffiti,
What's your last one?
apple pie.
Oh, you could.
Banana.
You can communicate pen and paper? Is that what you said?
Well, you
Because
could
it's
be
the last question.
not like that.
So Reverend Dunn, so are you gonna designate the one who's gonna make the spirit plate now before we go into the moment of, where you can't speak?
The first elder.
Oh, is
You're making the ancestor claim.
Yes.
Yes. No, after the oracle. So, we got it all out of our systems.
Crackers.
That's what you chose.
Marketing.
Nobody. Okay. But. Say.
You give up to be an the one that makes your hand sweat.
You know that's on how it should.
So, after the oracle. But the feast is over there. You can go get your food.
After I serve the ancestor.
After glory first presented to the ancestors, should be placing upon the altar.
And after the oracle.
After the oracle. We ready?
All right, so for those of y'all coming at the back, after the oracle, no more talking.
Yeah. So after the oracle.
After the oracle.
Silent. Well, so just to repeat, after the oracle, there's no more talking. The feast is right over there, and we consume it in silence until the new first priesthood are taken away to their evening of confinement.
And for our silence, we just want you all to know how much we love and appreciate you. Ancestors.
Hail, ancestors.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Beloved ancestors.
I have a message.
Oh, go.
Well, you honor us. It's us that honor you for carrying us forward. For believing in who we stand for. We are with you always. We love all of you. And we will always be together.
And with that, we shall end our live cast. The oracle has been given.